Welcome back to Beards and Brews. Hey, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe or follow wherever you're listening. Not only does it help us out, but you'll know exactly when we have another one brewing. Gentlemen, 'tis the season. We're watching Elf.
Okay, the whole premise of this is Santa fucking abducts a child and then pawns it back off on the dad who didn't want him originally.
I could kind of see that. I mean, I do enjoy how the Santa in this movie is kind of sleazy, you know?
Fucking love Ad Asner. He is a national treasure.
He has a scene right in the beginning there, because you're talking about the creepy, where he turns and it's like dark lit and he's looking at the baby and he crunches the cookie and you're like, that's kind of fucking sinister.
Well, I mean, I kind of enjoyed the sleaze there too, because, like, of course he saw whatever was in the room, but, like, his laser vision detected the cookies first, and he's like, hell yeah, and just creeped right over, starts stuffing his face.
Listen, he's had a lot of eggnog that night already. It's Christmas Eve. He's gone to a lot of houses, been very nice to him. He didn't even see that baby there in the first place. He just turned back around and was like, oh, just a crib. That one must have died already. This cookie's good.
Oh, shit.
It was them thick boy cookies, because you said he was drinking all that eggnog. He's got to have something to soak up the eggnog shits. You know, like flying over the cities and just letting those things spray out. It's going to be rough.
Well, we know where it goes. That's why his sack is so big.
Oh. No! What did the naughty kids get? Eggnog shits.
Just for posterity, we know that Will Ferrell is this elf. Our opinions on him coming soon, but the reason why he gets caught up in this whole mess is he's just a little baby. He's in an orphanage, unfortunately, and the movie kind of goes out of its way to be like, well, nobody wanted you this year, maybe next year, pal. Hi dippity dee.
That's so rough.
Wasn't that like a sister of the church, too, that rolled in and just, like, disrespecting this kid?
Oh, yeah, that was a nun.
Slapping him around. I mean, what he got from it isn't worth it. He gets taken to the North Pole and indoctrinated into a life of servitude under some creepy old man that abducted him. Come on, y'all. They got him dressed like a green traffic cone.
Oh.
It's pretty unique. I mean, I want to say you see Will Ferrell everywhere on merchandise, but his silhouette will do. You know, it's just one of those iconic things now.
So I do have kind of a question. How did Santa make it back to the North Pole, not realizing there was a child in his sack? Sub-question, why were there still presents in Santa's sack once he made it to the North Pole? Should have been empty, right? Every one of those presents should have been divvied out to the children, right?
I will say this. Santa is very aware of what every child is up to at any given moment. He knew where that kid was. He didn't give a shit. He pawned him off immediately after landing back at the North Pole.
Bob Newhart, you take this one. I'm still drunk on eggnog.
Yes, alcoholism, the true star of this film. But Bob Newhart's completely wasted in this. Like, I thought he just...
Really?
Yeah, I thought that he's a funny fucking guy. And I didn't think his performance had anything to it. It was like... He normally has great comedic timing, especially with dry humor. It was just flat to me. Like, I didn't think he was trying to tell a joke or anything.
As far as I'm concerned, all you need is Bob Newhart to be Bob Newhart, and that's funny enough.
Yeah, I gotta agree. He was just, like, just enough awkward to be, like, dad figure or that thrust upon father. And not only him, but, like, all the secondary performances in this movie are pretty fucking great.
Do you think Zooey Deschanel does a pretty great job?
She plays Zooey Deschanel. She checks the box.
I think Zooey Deschanel could play a dead duck and do a great job at it.
All right.
That means I think she'd be great in anything, any role that. If she is on screen, she's doing fine. That's all I'm saying.
I don't want to sound like we're ganging up on you, Brady, but, like, this feels like one of those movies that surprised me. That, you know, I've seen it 1,000 times growing up because it's on that fucking TBS circulation 24/7 during the holidays. Just watching this with a more critical eye, I don't know, I kind of enjoyed this. This was actually, it was good. I laughed a lot, actually. I can't even lie. I'm just such a schmuck now.
For me to say I didn't laugh would be a lie. There are moments of genuine hilarity. The dad figure was amazing. I thought that they did a killer, and I'm talking a fucking killer job at grabbing the soundtrack and the feeling of whimsy for this movie. I thought they knocked that out of the park. The whole time they're in New York and stuff, I'm sure we'll get there. But the whole time they're there, all that feels like that classic Home Alone 2 vibe. You know, it all feels proper. I just could not stand Will fucking Ferrell in this. I couldn't do it. I just couldn't.
Okay, I've mentioned my sort of standpoint on this beforehand, but I need to let the audience know. Audience, I fucking hate Will Ferrell. I can't stand a thing that he's in aside from that one movie that I've mentioned before where he doesn't play Will Ferrell. This is Will Ferrell playing a perfect Will Ferrell role. He's in a Christmas movie, which I also hate. Fucking hate Christmas movies, just all of them. But this is that perfect movie that sort of cancels both of those negatives out and just runs with it for me. I really like this movie as, you know, for what it is. I really do.
I was really apprehensive. I kind of didn't want to watch this, but man, like you're right. This is the absolute best way to use Will Ferrell. Jon Favreau is like a hidden gem favorite of mine, and I totally forgot he made Elf. And it totally shows. You mentioned earlier, Brady, that you enjoyed how in the beginning it captures the whimsy, the Christmas whimsy really well. And it certainly does. It takes all the cues from like those old like 50s and 60s animations and stuff, like Rudolph and all that. The set design is like wonderfully perfect. It's like a open-faced stage set design, like it's a play or something like that.
I thought you were going to talk about an open-faced roast beef sandwich, because that sounds pretty good.
Damn, Arby's, they got the meats.
Ooh.
Sponsor us.
For real.
But no, it's fantastic. It's just like, this movie didn't have to go that hard, but it did, and I think it paid off. You
mentioned the throwbacks to those old like animated, stop-motion animated films. Like, I love the snowman in this. The snowman that just very obviously has, like, the Pringles logo as a face.
I thought it was a KFC snowman. I thought it was the Colonel.
It does give Colonel vibes, but his face, to me, it just looks like you took it straight off of a Pringles can.
That's okay. Yeah, once he popped, kind of stopped. He just kind of showed up for, like, literally 3 minutes, and just to dump all this exposition out. And I'm like, who the fuck is that guy? We never see him again.
Well, at least you have a father. Somebody just rolled me up one day.
And that was the end of him.
I don't know. I thought that was funny.
No, I think that's the best bit of comedy in this movie is just like the redundancies that happen. Just like he literally just said like, oh yes, you know, I have all this experience. I'm basically an old man. They made me 15 minutes ago.
Time passes differently when you're made of the snow. We do get some insight into what it's like to be an elf, and apparently elves grow very slowly because Will Ferrell was like 35 and sitting in a classroom full of 8-year-olds.
Why does that one look exactly like James?
Oh yeah, you're right.
I didn't see it, but now that you say it.
I'm sorry, James, if you're listening. Love you, mean it, but this guy looks exactly like you.
No, it's a compliment. He's a hard worker, too. And speaking of hard work, since Will Ferrell doesn't have that same magic, like, you know, the panache, so, like, he makes, like, 82 Etch-a-Sketches, which, to me, is a lot of etching. But his work order's, like, what, 7,000 or something ridiculous?
Yeah, dude. Huge numbers.
He doesn't have those nimble elf fingers. You gotta have the nimble elf fingers.
I did like that they found a purpose for him, though. Checking to make sure that all the Jack-in-the-Boxes worked. And with each one, he's terrified when they pop out. I thought that was brilliant. That's a proper use, to me, of, like, the man-child.
I get it. They're scary.
Well, see, they are very kind elves. You know, they don't want to go out of the way to make anybody uncomfortable. So this way, they could kind of get rid of Will Ferrell by giving him a heart attack at the ripe age of 30.
And then they move on. It's like, wait, we actually need a mechanic because there's no mechanics up here on the North Pole because they're all elves. They have dainty, nimble fingers. You're a human. You can build engines or whatever, right? Because we got this sled, this Santa sleigh, and it needs to be powered because people are losing their faith in Christmas, and that's what drives the sled, evidently.
Wait a minute. If they need human hands to build the engine, what child and what year did they steal the first baby to be the engineer for his sled? Will Ferrell's just a replacement.
Well, no, it would have been his dad, the elf.
He built it?
Oh, yeah, it was
maybe
Bob Newhart.
With tiny little elf fingers?
Yeah.
Then why can't he repair it with his same tiny little elf fingers?
Well,
he's getting old.
Yeah, like I don't
know.
I don't think they needed him specifically for anything. I think they're just like, hey, take your kid to work because anywhere else he's a disaster.
Gotcha. Get him out of our hair.
Maybe Bob Newhart was just ready to move on to take over that bread and breakfast in Vermont.
Fair enough.
Yep.
But they do mirror this later on in the movie where he's kind of like stuck at his other dad's job too.
Oh yeah, just like Will Ferrell, get out of the way.
He's just always in the way.
Go sit in the corner and eat your giant bowl of spaghetti noodles covered in fucking M&Ms and candy canes and syrup.
Yeah, I'm going to run with that. What I've got here today, much like Will Ferrell, is a big boy. Woo! This smells syrupy. What I've got here today is Goose Island's Bourbon County brand special number 4 stout from the year 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, this was a $25 bottle of beer, so this better be damn good. But I wanted to break something special out for the Christmas season. Ooh.
Well, now I'm super curious of what a giant maple beer tastes like.
I mean, well, $25 and it survived the blip? I'm curious.
What this is an oatmeal stout aged in bourbon barrels with coffee and maple syrup. This is 13.3% alcohol by volume, and you can smell that. It smells like coffee, smells like barrel, smells like maple syrup too. I can definitely taste the coffee, but it's not as sharp as you would expect it to be. It is mellow, like a cold brew. You can taste the maple syrup, but it's mellow too. It's not sweet. It's not overly sugary. It's just maple. But man, let me tell you, this is just a good, solid, potent oatmeal stout, bourbon barrel aged oatmeal stout. God damn, this is good. $25. I don't know about $25. It's probably worth about $18. I don't know about 25, but it's going to get me drunk.
$24, but it's pretty goddamn good milkshake.
100%. It is the $5 milkshake from Pulp Fiction.
Speaking of a numerical intrinsic value, they try to get... I don't know what I'm trying to do. Somebody give me a
smooth one.
Oh, shit. $18. It's going to cost him more than that for his trip to New York, which he gets there by literally walking with zero food, zero water, any of that. Magic.
No. He's got that maple syrup up his sleeve. That's how that's where he's getting his calories from. It's very dense.
Yeah, plus with all that sugar, he's basically an energy machine. He just keeps going and going.
He probably killed a caribou or two when he was up in Canada.
Oh, that's some horseshit. He could even take on a raccoon.
Yeah, see? And that's something that they could have took from his Saturday Night Live, like, spiel, and he could have been like, I've killed the caribou. Its strength be in me. He's just gory.
He's all this visceral in him. He just starts walking into Central Park.
He gets through the Lincoln Tunnel all covered in blood and schmutz and everything, and no one gives a shit because it's New York.
Yeah, it's fine. But I kind of like the way it was because it's like, how else are you going to bridge fantasy with actual New York City? Just like, yeah, fuck it, he's there. Whatever. Like, he spoke to a narwhal before he floated off.
I like that narwhal, though.
It was such a weird scene. Like, it comes up and it's like, well, just enjoy your day, man.
I think it's pretty good. It's like it just balances the absurdity pretty well.
I do like the contrast they have, though. He gets to see this narwhal, the penguin, all these things up in the North Pole, and they're very claymation, very whimsical. He gets on the iceberg, rides it to New York, and the first animal he comes across, he's like, well, hello, little raccoon friend, and he tries to hug it, and it's the cancer raccoon from Harold and Kumar and fucking attacks his throat.
That raccoon tore him up pretty hard. Like, even the music afterwards was like a little slower, a little bit more sympathetic.
By the way, before we get moving, we do get a notice, just a little warning, that Will Ferrell, Buddy's dad, is on the naughty list, so just watch out for that. And I don't remember why, but I remember hearing, the Metal Gear Solid exclamation point sound. I don't... Yeah,
the alert?
Yeah, Eric, figure out a way to put that in there if you can. Yeah, I heard that, and I was like, what the fuck was that? Just randomly thrown in there.
Yeah, it totally throws his world upside down, because he's the perfect fella, even though he's not an elf, he still has those elf values. He goes all the way to New York, and what does he find? His dad is James Caan.
Oh my god. This, for me, is the only time that the movie truly shines is when James Caan's on the fucking screen, because his straight man to Will Ferrell's over-the-top absurdity is so fucking perfect. Like, just the reveal of James Caan turning around and seeing Will Ferrell in the doorway, he's like, all right, let's get it over with. And that's his line. That's what he says. Like, he's like, whatever, man.
About this movie.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
Like, every time he has to share a scene with Will Ferrell, you can just see him, like, internally boiling over like a tea kettle. I just want to hurt him.
It reminded me of like Freddy Got Fingered.
With
the
Rip
dynamic between them, where it's just like, yeah, you're my son, but I'm gonna fucking kill you.
See, I don't know, because like in this movie, I am thoroughly convinced that James Caan is just an excellent actor, and he knew exactly how to combat Will Ferrell's childishness. With Rip Torn, I believed he actually hated Tom Green, like 100%. Like he would probably kill him with his bare hands, just be like, all right, time to go home, and drives right into a bank.
I think it's probably a little bit of both. I think it's got to be a little bit of both. Between scenes, James Caan is equally pissed off, giving you the same emotions, just pointing back at the director, Jon Favreau. I was in The Godfather, right?
You know what? I thought about that quite a lot, just because everything around this man, it just turns into just kind of like wacky chaos, and you can just see him just choking down the heartburn of the situation.
I loved every fucking minute of James Caan in this film. I really did, especially like when he takes him to get the DNA test, like, and he gets the boo-boo stick, and he's like, Will Ferrell starts screaming, and it's absurd. It's over the top. It's very loud, and that's one of the things that was a big turnoff, was just the loud. But you can see the father turning his head. I know he's turning it to laugh, but I like to imagine that he's turning it to look at the director and just be like, dude, what the fuck?
Can we turn him down a little bit?
That's actually super hilarious, because the director is Jon Favreau, who's playing the doctor in that scene.
Yep.
Oh, even better.
I like how Will Ferrell's just there, just eating cotton balls. They can't taste good.
That was the one thing that perplexed me, because, like, yeah, he's a child, but, like, why is he just eating shit? And the movie goes out of its way, like, 2 or 3 times to point out, like, he's just eating cotton balls. Haha.
It's not like cotton candy.
I believe in it.
But okay, he finds out that that's actually his son from a lady that he hooked up with in high school that died in a car accident, yada, 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 Susan Wells. Looks up his old yearbook. Yeah, I guess I did smash that.
I love that scene, because, like, he reminisces. He goes from, like, shit, he was a baddie, to, like, all right, now I guess I'm responsible.
God damn it. So, yeah, after this, Will Ferrell I don't remember what happened. He gets kicked out of the office where his dad works. He's like, hey, go somewhere else. And he goes to Gimbel's department store. They think he's an elf working there at the department store. He's not, but you know who is. A little cutie named Zooey Deschanel.
I thought she was going to say the Sticky Bandits.
They just rolled around. Joe Pesci just, like, decks Will Ferrell. But he's, like, 3 foot tall, so it's like a punch to the belly button.
It's a jump punch from My Cousin Vinny.
I really want to know what happens if you take Will Ferrell's elf and incorporate it with Bad Santa, and you just have those worlds collide, and, who gets affected most in all of that?
It would be Billy Bob Thornton, because James Caan would murder him.
Oh, dude, potentially. I was going to say, now that you mentioned a crossover, though, what about like a live-action Hanukkah movie with Adam Sandler playing like a dreidel spinning Yiddish magic rabbi, and he's just like running around talking about the holidays and whatnot?
You're wanting to combine Adam Sandler and Will Ferrell into one movie where they are both man-children?
No, we just remove Will Ferrell and add Adam Sandler, because he's got to get these movies for that Netflix deal, so why can't he make this? Just Elf, but with a dreidel spinning Yiddish rabbi.
You know what? Whatever. Just make a sequel to the other movie. Just call it 9 Crazy Nights. It doesn't matter.
9 Crazy Nights.
The 9th Crazy Night.
Adam Sandler, holler at us, but just know that we've already copyrighted that, so if you want to use it, we need money.
There we go.
Yeah, 100%. And it's not even about Hanukkah. It's actually just Ocean's 11 again.
It's Ocean's 9 Crazy Nights.
Oh, yes.
George Clooney's just there.
There's a scene where, like, with the Zooey Deschanel bathroom sing-along, but it's one of us, because we get put in the movie since it was our idea, and that's how he pays us, and we're like, yeah, that's a great idea. But anyways, we're taking a shit, and we're singing some dreidel song, and then we hear someone singing it back, and we open up the bathroom closet, and there's Adam Sandler, like, eating cotton balls or something, like, oh, yeah, you sing the dreidel song so good, here's a wet wipe, ooh.
I'm not gonna lie. That would piss me off. I'd just be like, enough of this immediately. Adam Sandler, you gotta go.
Personally, I would just be on the toilet taking a dump singing the song from Fiddler on the Roof.
Well, just to pull everything back into perspective, Remember, Buddy, he goes to that shop, he sees Zooey Deschanel, but I have to point out something that I enjoyed much more than their awkward relationship. But the dude who was like the store manager,
hell yeah,
just trying to get everything together, what sold it was his absolute excellent execution of being able to not say anything and say everything with his face. As soon as Will Ferrell just like starts shouting, and at the end of his shtick, he starts walking away and you think he's going to turn around and say something. Absolutely not. He just looks at him like there's daggers flowing out of his eyes, points at him really hard, and fucks off. I was like, I know exactly what that feels like.
This is perfectly the Samuel Jackson stares motherfuckerly.
Yes, absolutely. And I know, like, we've all worked in the same environment, working in the public sector. I'm just like, damn it, today's gonna suck.
I enjoyed, he's a plump fellow. He does a lot of body language, too, which sells a lot of the things. Like, he'll say something, and you'll see him raise his chest up and let his belly flop down. I'm just like, all right, man, that's him putting his foot down with his gut.
Oh, yeah, I think I've seen him in some other movies where he just has this, like, really unique dance or whatever.
I've seen him. I don't know who that guy is, though. Like, I've definitely seen him before.
Actually, since there's, like, so many, like, NBC, like, kind of people around here, I'm super surprised that, like, Tina Fey didn't show up somewhere.
Man, there are so many people in this movie. So many people that we haven't even mentioned yet.
Well, one person that we've definitely mentioned is Zooey Deschanel, and she's playing Zooey Deschanel. She catches the eye of Will Ferrell, and he's like, hey, I'm going to tell you all these things like a kid.
Yeah, and she's into it. It's kind of weird.
No, it's super weird. Like, I know Brady, like, you hated him through the whole movie. Like, when he first approaches her, I'm just like, red flag, man. Just fucking call somebody.
Yeah, she even tells him, like, right off the gate, like, please stop talking to me. Please go away. Let's disengage from this conversation right now.
He proceeds to follow her into the bathroom. For God's sakes, while she's naked in a shower, 10 seconds later, she's like, whatever, it's fine. We're buddies because you like to sing, right, buddy? And then you see her space out into oblivion again.
I do have to point out, like, even though the Will Ferrell can come off as annoying or creepy, it's not cynical at all, and in the movie's definitely relying on this whole thing to be like, well, he's very innocent, he doesn't quite get it. He's there with the best of intentions. He's just there to sing. But this is still a 30-year-old man, and this is a stranger. Call the police.
100%.
Very valid. Very valid. But the reason he is there in the locker room shower is because he has been in this department store all night. Overnight, preparing for Santa, whose arrival is coming this morning. Zooey Deschanel is taking a shower at her job because they turned off her water at her apartment.
Ah, yes, the down on her luck damsel.
Yep, just happened to, mash up. It happens. Right?
Sure, she's just going to be looking for that elf free ride over the North Pole. That's all.
I'd get... Nope. Trying to not be the horny one.
Wouldn't that be a South Pole?
Oh. No. Well, unfortunately, the only thing getting throated in this movie is fucking 2 liters of soda so Will Ferrell can let giant herbs.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's... It's actually kind of iconic, The day wraps up, James Caan gets a little bit of a second wind with Buddy because he fishes him out of jail, so on and so forth. He does get to go back to his place, and they try to function as, like, this blended family just for an evening to try it out.
Oh, yeah. James Caan, we forgot to mention, has a family already. Married to Mary Steenburgen? Is that her name?
That's right. Mary Steenburgen, co-star of Back to the Future Part 3.
Oh. Also, they've got a kid, like probably, 10, 11 years old? I don't know how old this kid is.
I don't know. I'll say 10. Yeah, he plays the son of Mary Steenburgen, who was the co-star of Back to the Future Part 3.
Oh. She was in Step Brothers, also with Will Ferrell. Is she just his actual mother? Have we looked into this?
I mean, maybe, because, she doesn't do any fucking parenting at all when it comes to him. She literally comes home, does nothing, tells James Caan to relax, even though he's about to twist his head off every other scene. And he's like, don't worry about it. Gabish.
Dude.
Maybe maple syrup on spaghetti is good. We'll see.
I fucking lost my shit. Dad, tuck me in. I'm not tucking you in. I can't sleep, and he does it. And then Will Ferrell grabs James Caan, It begins to tickle him. And I swear to God, this doesn't seem like a line. It doesn't seem like anything. It's just James Caan not laughing, not smiling, just removing Will Ferrell's hands, looking him dead in his fucking soul and going, no, we're not doing this.
Yes, in that moment, James Caan was like, I really wish they killed me in The Godfather.
Headcanon going here, James Caan did not know that he was getting engaged in a tickle fight at that moment.
100%.
Yeah.
I believe that, yeah. Will Ferrell was just like jumping on that improv gun, and James Caan had a real gun. It was just real awkward.
Somebody call an ambulance, but not for me.
100%.
So the next thing I've got is that Dad is in hot water at work. He works at a publishing company in the Empire State Building, and his job's not going well. He's got 2 writers for him that are, they seem like they're not doing great either, played by Kyle Gass and Andy Richter.
Yeah, just randomly, kind of. I know Andy Richter's an NBC fella at the time. I don't know about Kyle Gass. I guess he's trying it out. You know, Jack had a good run. Let's see what KG can do.
They can pitch the idea to get another writer.
That whole scene was a little bit of a slow burn, but I realized, like, oh, I've been in situations like this where it makes no fucking sense, where 2 people are just, like, trying to, like, not do their own job.
Well, there's a lot of pressure on them. They got, like, one more shot to get something right, or they're all canned, or whatever. What do? Go to someone who they know can do something right. And it's a good choice because this gives us the most fucking hilarious scene in the whole movie, as far as I'm concerned.
It's true, and they were very worried they couldn't get him in such short time.
Well, on such short note, Tyrion Lannister is who we have. Peter Dinklage is this other, like, the fucking Dr. Seuss of his time in this world. He comes in, he's got all these demands, he gets like a half-hour meeting with these guys, and Buddy runs in with some kind of problem. I don't remember what it is, though.
No, I thought you were going to, like, slightly different direction. I would have 100% agreed. It's just that Buddy busts in with his bullshit.
Oh. Yes, here it comes with that bullshit again, just strutting.
Full stride, too.
Oh, yeah. Big fucking steps. Big steps. He comes in, kicks the door open, knocks his pimp hat off. He's like, listen here, you little pint-sized mother...
It's definitely like a Tropic Thunder-esque tirade against Peter Dinklage.
Yes. I think it's handled extremely well, to your point, Chandler, in it being funny. It's a dry, slow burn that escalates into the best fight scene. There's multiple in this movie, where he just keeps belittling Peter Dinklage by really assuming that he's an elf. And he's like, does Santa know you're out at the workshop? And you just go, oh, fuck.
Did you have to borrow a reindeer to get here?
It just comes down to, like, the usual, just like, say it again and see what happens. And he just unwittingly does, and he gets fucking drop kicked off his feet.
Okay, the drop kick. Whenever he got up on the table and ran at him, again, all I could think was Ernest Scared Stupid. And I was like, is this Booger Lips running at him? Because he's got the arms out, like, come here. Trying to give him a big old smooch.
They just had to make it work because, like, the size difference is what makes it just, like, extra hilarious, you know?
Yeah.
Because, like, Peter Dinklage just, like, puts him in, like, an arm bar and flips him, like, you know, Steven Seagal just, like, torqued his whole top half.
It's not only the size difference, like, the size difference is a lot of it, but it's also the size to anger ratio. They are way off here.
It's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight and the dog.
That chihuahua is fucking angry.
Well, it also implies that in this particular moment, you know, the taller you are, the more happy you are.
That explains it.
He was like, hey, you're not the real Santa. Get out of here. And try to break his arm.
Nobody beats me in the kitchen.
Let's go to the hallway.
You just spit in my gumbo.
So, Dad tells him, buddy, get the fuck out of here. I don't ever want to see you again. Anger, anger, anger. You get the little guy running away, too. He's had enough of it.
Yeah, we get to the point in the movie where, like, this is a little bit of a whimsical family movie, and you have to put your main character in the worst spot just before everything gets better. Buddy runs out to New York City, just getting into shenanigans, really, and he winds up in Central Park.
Why doesn't he just run to that pigeon lady? Or is that a different movie?
Yeah, he's not a McAllister. Yeah, but we can check. See if Tim Curry's working at the desk at the hotel, though.
When he runs out of the building,
he does write a suicide note on an Etch-a-Sketch. There is that suicide note Etch-a-Sketch.
I mean, was he thinking about it? 'Cause I thought he was just sad, but like it's totally implied by the visuals.
Yeah, he goes to that bridge and just starts like looking over. He's like, what if I just, drop myself down there? Whoop.
This bit's totally just yoinking from It's a Wonderful Life with Jimmy Stewart, but I do kind of enjoy the implication, like, he's just sad. He doesn't know how to deal with this kind of sad, but he's definitely in a position where you're just like, well, maybe
Suicide is the answer.
Just hard cuts to credits.
That would be kind of cool.
It's ballsy.
and that's just the last we ever hear of Will Ferrell's career right there.
That's how Jon Favreau got Iron Man.
It's really kind of amazing how much I feel like this movie just springboarded Jon Favreau into like this cultural phenomenon that he's become.
He's a killer fiction director. Like, Brady, you and I spoke a little bit about like Cowboys and Aliens. It's not the best movie, but like there's like some charm to it. Like his movies are just charming. I'm just going to say, Mr. Favreau, if you're out there listening to this episode, Zathura was pretty good.
He had a TV series that was basically like him as a chef or like working with chefs on like food trucks or something like that, right? And I remember him having just this sort of really electric personality.
Like, if you can separate him from Disney a little bit, he's got some great stuff.
Yeah, but he was really solid in those few episodes of Friends that he was on.
Meanwhile, in Central Park, there's suddenly like the fucking sleigh is crashing because Christmas spirit's at an all-time low, and I guess the Eye of Sauron gazed upon it because out of nowhere appear 4 park rangers, and they are clearly ring wraiths.
100%. Yeah, these are the Central Park Rangers, and they are basically Mounties.
Yeah, this is like the proto scene from Anchorman where they all had a big fight with all the affiliates.
Yes.
But yeah, it's like one of those like really great, almost non sequitur jokes. Just like, oh, by the way, these guys are so badass that even Santa's like, fuck, we gotta move.
That was a very fun bit. Just the fact that these Mounties, the ring wraith looking motherfuckers, are chasing after Santa, and Santa's not just like, ho, 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 I can solve it. He's like, no, these dudes are gonna fuck me up. All right, 2 years ago, I crashed here. They beat the shit out of me, dude. I barely got out of here. We lost Prancer.
I like how when Buddy runs up to him and is like, Santa! He turns back around real quick with a tire iron, like, get the fuck back!
Yeah, I was going to say, like, earlier in the movie, he gave him some really solid advice about going to New York because he said he'd been there many times and he's learned so much. So, like, there's this escalation of him just, like, being an absolute kind of sleazeball and just, like, ready for anything. Like, he was about to take his head off.
He's got a tire iron, and his sleigh does not have tires. Think about that.
No, it's just for the bludgeoning.
Yeah.
That's all it's for. Since he can't get it going, our good buddy the mechanic, he's got to fiddle with it with these, meaty man fingers.
Why would you say it like that?
Big, meaty claws.
Fucking Buddy's little brother is like, hey, Zooey Deschanel, look, I got Santa's book. You know what's going to help? You know what's going to help, Zooey Deschanel? If you sing really unenthusiastically. And she's like, don't worry, fam, I got you.
Don't worry, that's what I've done through my entire career.
Yep.
Oh, you're right.
I do love She and Him, so that's not a dig. It's just exactly how it be.
No, you're not wrong. But what I found the most ridiculous bit is when James Caan's boy was just like naming off names and presents for kids. So like if they're watching, if they're watching, they'll see that and they'll be like, wow, a big influx of Christmas spirit. I'm just like, this is the middle of the fucking night. Like, what kid's watching the news?
I feel like that's a HIPAA violation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Well, I mean, whenever the movie ends, we don't see the child, so Buddy's brother may have been fed to the reindeer.
To be fair, I thought this kid was a shit through the whole thing. I just got bad vibes the entire time, and then I realized why. About 3/4 the way through, he reveals himself as a fucking Jets fan. A Jets fan!
No.
Fuck this kid.
So Chandler's scouting him.
Yeah, fuck this kid.
Abe, look. Whatever it takes to roast him, he seemed, along with Mary Steenburgen, co-star of Back to the Future Part 3. Like, both of them seem kind of interchangeable. Like, I know they had to be there for the movie to happen, but they didn't really add any personality to the movie per se. The only thing that I can remember is that he had a really big coat.
Really big coat. Weirdly big coat.
Yeah, weirdly
Little
big
kid
coat.
in a big coat.
It was 2003, so that was the style then, right? It was in New York. He was,
Yeah, New York, onion on the belt.
Yeah,
Classic.
Sean Puffy Combs, it was a thing.
Well, good thing New York City doesn't have any ground-to-air defenses because Santa gets away.
Would never happen in
Dude, I was just gonna I was waiting for you to say that you were cutting it.
No, I did. I was like, Future Rock, you know what to do.
Well, okay, for me personally, whenever they went away, whatever, I was like, okay, I started decorating my tree because I was in a festive mood. The movie did set with its music and its setting a whimsical tone. I felt festive. I wanted to put my tree up, so we did. And I remember kind of glancing over at this moment, and the end of the movie was happening. And Zooey Deschanel is at the North Pole, and she's in like a pink elf uniform, and Will Ferrell is there as his green cone, and he's sitting on Santa's lap, and he's peering over his shoulder at Zooey Deschanel, who's peering at him longingly. And I went, what the fuck? And then the movie ends while KFC Snowman stares at him from outside the window while he's rubbing on his icicle.
That is exactly what happened.
No, that's 100% right. The movie just stops, doesn't resolve. They're in the North Pole. They've had a baby. The end.
Yeah, like the thing is they had a baby and, Grandpa Bob Newhart is like, hey, come on over here and, let me hold you. And Will Ferrell's like, all right, Dad. So he sits on his lap.
Yeah, okay, fine. There's the goof. I'm laughing. Don't worry. Here's the thing. What? He has a kid? Like, what? I don't think the movie's earned this at all. Like, he's like a 30-year-old, 10-year-old. I mean, he's never even snorted a titty.
For real. Yeah. And if Zooey Deschanel's character is just letting him fucking unload inside of her, then what the hell is she doing? Because this man doesn't have a job. There is no future.
She doesn't have hot water.
That's what I'm saying.
This doomed to begin with.
He's going to end up working on the goddamn sleigh. That's what this kid's for.
There's no pay for that. Like, this is slavery.
Or at least indentured servitude.
Yeah.
They only have to work to death.
But you do get room and board.
Fine, you probably get like an infinite supply of hot cocoa, which is probably delicious.
What do you think they eat up there?
People.
The elves that can no longer fucking make toys. Looks like meat's back on the menu, boys!
Oh, God.
So is that implying that elves are related to orcs? Are they a part of the same family tree?
They're tortured so much they become them.
Oh, okay. I just thought they had the same amount of syllables. I was like, that's about right.
Culkin, holler at us. Clear this up.
So, we get the good ending. The family's together. They figured out how to live this whole blended relationship. Zooey Deschanel poops out a kid. It's still weird. It's still weird to me. I'm sorry. And that's it. I think at this point the movie has kind of juggled enough nonsense and whimsy to kind of just like go to bed at 90 minutes and just be fine.
Mm-hmm. I laughed a few times, but for the most part, other than James Caan, I fucking hated this movie. Like I said, it does set a festive tone, but for fuck's sake, I like Will Ferrell in Step Brothers. I think it's brilliant. I think Talladega Nights is fucking hilarious. I could not stand him in this movie. None of the laughs in this movie that I got were from him. I really couldn't stand him.
I think I really like this movie. It made me laugh like a stupid idiot. It was very well put together. I don't remember this movie being this good. I know I'm on the other side of the pillow in this, but man, like, the dialogue's tight enough when it needs to be. Will Ferrell's man-childness can get a little grating, but like the movie shuts him down right when he needs to be, with James Caan coming in like an absolute hurricane. I think I'm on Chandler's side. Like, I think this is just going to be one of those yearly Christmas movies now.
You guys already know where I stand on this. Hate Will Ferrell, hate Christmas movies, but this one's a winner. I don't know why. Honestly, I can't even put it to words. There's really only 2 acts to this movie, and I don't care. Don't care at all. Anytime I'm looking up at it, The scene that I'm watching, it's good in some way. I just enjoy it. I don't care. It is what it is.
Well, there you have it. That was Elf from 2003, the year after 2002. If you have any strong feelings about this movie or the show, leave it in the comment section below.
Make sure to hit that like and or subscribe button. Be sure to bash the little bell icon down there too, so you don't miss what we've got brewing up next.
Get out there and follow us on the social medias. We've got it all, ladies and gentlemen. You can find us anywhere podcasts are available, including YouTube. Give us a listen. Sometimes we're funny, and if you don't, then you're a cotton-headed ninny muggins.
There it is.